sometimes because, it's just different. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that my home, you felt welcome, that you knew you were welcome, and that Mason was free to roam and do what he does just like he does at home. And so even like thinking about stuff, I'm like, okay, do I need to like childproof it? I was watching him. He was like trying to unlock the door and then giving you a peace of mind as well so that you could enjoy yourself like at my home. And so I, took initiative to hang out with him and, just be there to support. So it was a good time.
Bubbly water.
Yes,
Yeah,
I knew that.
Yeah.
Because you shared that on your journey, and I think about things that kind of helps to like. What is it like when he's stimming? Okay, yeah.
See, look.
See, I know the language. So he was getting, kind of like irritated or whatever, and so I'm like, well, what could calm him down and get and capture his focus? So I just made a sink full of bubble water, and I'm like, come on, Mason, let's play, so that we could enjoy each other and have fun with our friends, and so
because that. Welcome to another episode of the Moments of Joy podcast. MVPs, welcome back. I greet you at the top of every show, and I've done that for the past 5.5 years because you are our most valuable players. You press play on every single episode, so I've given you the name MVP. So welcome back. And if this is your first time joining us, go ahead and take a seat, or if you're driving, turn us up, and let's get ready for the Moments of Joy podcast. And welcome to the community if this is your first time. So today I'm sitting down with my friend Taylor J. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So today's episode is around friendship, and we're going to talk about ways that friends who are often on the outside of the families raising children with special needs can really take themselves and position them to be on the outside with more understanding, more acceptance, more awareness to really help to nurture the relationships that you have with children who are parents who are raising children with special needs. So I wanted to bring Taylor J in because we've been friends for a few years now, and she has really not just become more aware and accepting, but she finds herself now giving parents advice, and she doesn't even have a child with special needs. So we're going to get into this. So Taylor J, before we get started, who are you to the people besides my friend?
Yes, I am Taylor J. I am a coach. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. And I'm a graphic designer.
Yes. And that's just a few. She is an anointed prayer warrior and covers me in prayer. Someone that I could let my hair down and be myself with, and I appreciate that about our friendship. The friendships are always on different levels. I feel like when you have a friend, it may be a friend that you talk about business with. It may be a friend that you maybe talk about parenthood with, but you're an all-around friend.
Oh, I love it.
Right? That's a gift. So when we met a few years ago, what were like your raw thoughts around special needs parent? I think I met you just when I began to make that switch and pivot to becoming a page about special needs parenting or a community. I had gone from motherhood to then like making that pivot. Clubhouse, I was just like dwindling down from and starting to post. So like, what were your like raw thoughts about that?
Well, my raw thoughts were, how was life for her? Because as your friend or becoming your new friend, I never want to, I guess, be misplaced or misplace our friendship. So I just wanted to know more about your lifestyle and what life looked like for you as a parent raising a child with special needs.
And so, you knew about Mason's autism diagnosis probably from the time that we met, but did you know much about autism?
I knew nothing about autism, nothing. I had no understanding of it, had not really experienced anyone. I've when I was in foster care, I lived with someone who had autism, but I still never understood it. I just knew he was different.
Right.
So.
Because wait, you told me a story about him. Did you say he collected straw? Oh, no.
Yeah, like the newspaper, the ties that holds the newspapers together. Yeah, he would collect those. And I remember my brother would collect them for him. So, and I think that they called it Asperger's at the time.
Yeah.
And then they switched it and they talked about him having autism. So that's all that I knew about it.
Yeah.
I knew he was different.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so that's like most people, we don't, unless it kind of enters your home, you may like remember one person that had autism. I knew growing up, one of my good friends, she had an aunt who had a son with autism, and I remember her always chasing him around. I remember like snippets of times where she would be in my friend's mom's living room crying and talking to her, but that was it. And then my mom's best friend has a grown adult son who has autism. And, that was it. You kind of put the face to the name, and like that's all really generally people know. So, how did your thoughts over time? So we've been friends a few years now. Even okay, we're church girls too. So then, I think distinctively, like by default, we kind of think, okay, let's pray away things. And I think probably right coming into our friendship, I was starting to come out of that kind of thought around, okay, this isn't anything demonic. This is not that. I started to change my mindset around that and become accepting and then start to advocate. So how did your thoughts start to change as time went on?
Well, I feel like I really grew with you in this because, like you said, we became friends like when you were transitioning and learning more about autism and your baby's diagnosis and how to navigate life. And so you would always share things with me, and I just always been open to learning because you're my friend and I love you and I want to support you. And so I never really came with any like instruction. I just learned from you. And I was excited for you because as you were learning and growing, you were also leading other people and being a major resource. And so for me, I felt like I had front row seats to just learn. So I really just grew with you, I feel like, and I'm still growing with you as you learn.
Yeah, that's true because you have 4 children. Yes. So you could have easily been like, well, did you try this? Or did you have never crossed that line of that boundary. You have never given any type of unsolicited advice. You've always been a good listener. I think from the time I met you, I probably had already implemented Mental Health Mondays.
Yeah.
And you were a participator in that, where maybe you sent a gift card without me having to tell you. And I think that's a good note to give to a friend.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what is she doing? But you also, like, you saw the toll mentally that it was taking. So, like, what advice do you have for a friend who maybe like, I don't really understand what she's going through. None of my kids have special needs. But I want to support her.
Ask how you can support and be a good listener. That's important because there are ways that I feel like, I could support you, but I want to know what's beneficial for you. So if I've known that you had a rough week and you've shared things with me and, you're trying to make things happen, your wife, your mom, you're an entrepreneur, you're a content creator, you have all these things going on. And then I hear you say, I'm doing Mental Health Monday. I want to support you in that. And so I know we have like jokes and I'm like, well, they better not get on my friend's nerves today on this Mental Health Monday, or friend, you taking Mental Health Monday, or it's always something happening on Mental Health Monday. So I'm like, well, what could I do just as a friend, just to show, hey, I support you, I'm gonna send you a Starbucks gift card, or, I think I sent you Starbucks or something one day, you were having a rough day, and I said, let me send my friend some Starbucks, just to let you know, hey, I'm here for you, I support you, I got your back, and I'm praying for you.
Yeah, and so that's a small thing, but it's a big thing. Even if a friend might not have a mental health day, but just saying, like, I know you went through a rough time, because, like, the mental toll is, like, so heavy sometimes, depending on what they might be going through or specifically dealing with. So, we have autism and congenital heart disease. We haven't been friends for you to see like the heart disease side as of yet. We just go to appointments. But there are people who are in and out of the hospital. For another friend, a special needs mom, you met her at the Moments of Joy Fest.
Yeah.
Tanisha, her son was in the hospital during the Moments of Joy Fest, but she has been in and out of the hospital since I met her, and her son is probably 4 now.
Wow.
And I met her during the pandemic, but like always she's in and out and in and out, so the load could be like so heavy. And then she has other children, and then she's a wife, and then she's an entrepreneur, and so just trying to like juggle all that is a lot mentally.
That is. And even like thinking about like how I supported you, because I just relocated here to Texas with you. And so even as a friend who was long distance, I'm like, what could I do? Because I can't show up, you know? And that kind of just triggered a thought when you talked about her being in the hospital. So if, you know, you have to make a run or do something, I'm here now. So I'm like, what could I do? You know, now that I'm here, do I have time to stop by? Can I bring dinner? You know, different things like that. So
right. And so that's it's such a beautiful thought to even think that. We joked that you said, friend, you roared all of us in
yes,
here.
you did.
But initially when we moved here, we were alone and we had nobody. So having a close friend is amazing. Being even a support in your home. We talked about that a little bit, and how it's important for special needs families when you have a friend or a family member and you know that they might be coming over your house, you know they might be a little uncomfortable, still trying to navigate. What were those thoughts like?
Yeah, like, you know, I have a little one and he's a toddler. And so I know what it feels like just from my perspective with him going to other people's homes and maybe him, you know, dropping crumbs and jumping on couches. And so I was like even mindful of that, you know, like I don't have a special needs child, but my friend does. And I know that, you know, you may not get to go out or maybe a little hesitant sometime because, you know, it's just different. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that my home, you know, you felt welcome, that you knew you were welcome, and that Mason was free to roam and do what he does just like he does at home. And so even like thinking about stuff, I'm like, okay, do I need to like childproof it? I was watching him. He was like trying to unlock the door and then giving you a peace of mind as well so that you could enjoy yourself like at my home. And so I, you know, took initiative to hang out with him and, you know, just be there to support. So it was a good time.
Bubbly water.
Yes,
Yeah,
I knew that. Yeah, because you shared that on your journey, and I think about things that, you know, kind of helps to like, what is it, like when he's stimming? Okay, yeah.
See, look.
See, I know the language. So he was getting, you know, kind of like irritated or whatever. And so I'm like, well, what could calm him down and get and capture his focus? So I just made a sink full of bubble water, and I'm like, come on, Mason, let's play, so that we could enjoy each other and have fun with our friends. And so
because at that moment he was on me. I was like, oh, Mason, stop, calm down, it's okay. And you're like, oh, come on, Mason.
Yeah, because I didn't want you to feel like you had to leave or, you know, like I would rather just be in my own environment when my home is, you know, welcoming for you all. So
Yes, that is huge. Let's put a dot right there, because grandma, grandpa, uncle, friend that are watching, a lot of times that's not done. And your home is your home, but when you invite people into your home, you want to make sure that they're comfortable, and that really means a lot. I mean, we need support, and I think being a parent is one thing, but being a parent to a special needs child is a whole nother thing. I was sitting with Mason on the bed last night, and I thought that, and I said, you know, Mother's Day just passed. I said, everything I knew about being a mom, I had to toss out the window with him. Because, okay, I never thought I'd be the parent who's going to be making him a special dinner when I already made dinner. Right? No, you're going to eat this food. And so it comes with a different rule book and all the way along. This may be a lifelong journey, you know, and we're going to have to support him through it. And so now, and you even went to the barbershop the other day, and your barber had an autistic son, and as she was talking to him, described like that.
Yeah, she was sharing things with me, and I could tell she was even learning more about his diagnosis. And I'm like, oh my God, I know so much because we talk about these things, behind the scenes. I watch your content, anything that you're doing, I'm like tuned in to learn. And I just started recommending things. I knew the correct program terms, and I was so excited when I went back to visit. And she said, I'm putting him in ABA therapy. I thought that was so cool, because he can get the help that he needs for his speech. So yeah, I felt really good just being a resource and understanding the diagnosis and things that they could do to just make their life easier. So yeah, that was really cool.
Literally, it just means so much. And I think a lot of times, normally you are friends with the person. And like I had shared before, you may connect like over a topic or certain isolated thing. And sometimes people may not let friends into like the totality of who they are. And that is so important.
Yeah.
Especially in 2024. Like, I don't want to have like a surface type of friendship where, okay, well, I can't let you into this part of me because you're not going to know how to support me in that.
Right.
Especially raising a child with special needs.
That's so important. Yeah.
So learning, conversations, having raw conversations too.
Yeah.
If somebody's offended and maybe, hey, when you did this, that happened, or I felt like that. But yeah, it's so important.
Especially like this is your life. So, you're a huge advocate for it. You're leading people. You're a major resource in the public eye, and this is your home life. So for me, it's like this is her life, and I don't want you to have to feel like you have to separate or, any of that.
Right. And so Taylor J has a 4-year-old. He's 4.
Yeah.
And so he comes over to play with Mason. And Mason he is like, who? No. Who is Elam? Get out. Like, they are learning to get along. So I even had to tell Taylor J, don't feel bad because Elam is 4. Like, he's understanding this boy is big and he's not playing with me. He don't like me. He don't understand. So, he don't want to wrestle. So Elam's 4 and he's understanding the only way he's going to learn is that we equip him by experience. So they're both learning. Yeah. So I had to tell her, don't feel bad. He is wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
He crying. He keep crying.
Elam was like,
he like,
wrong?
Trying to figure this out. And we sitting here regular. This is not a regular situation. We ain't said nothing.
We just having our conversation.
Right, ignoring it. So yeah. And I think even with him as being somebody that's 4, as he grows up, he's gonna be more equipped and going into school and learning children that are different.
I love that. And I love how you handle Elam as well. Like, you're able to like be patient with him, and you have boys, so you understand boys, and you're a mom and you're nurturing, so you were able to pull him to the side and explain to him. And so that felt really good too, because I don't always know what to say or do, but when you do it, then that gives me a blueprint. Even with Mason, like, I don't mind him, eating off my plate or leaning on me. I'm just like, this is just nephew, so that's really good.
Because I think at 4, it's too young Elam's too young for me to say, oh, he has autism.
Right.
What is that? No, he's not going to get that concept. But, what he does know is that this is a big kid. He's bigger than me. And obviously he could see that, he's not acting like a normal kid, for lack of better words. So I had to say, Elam, although he's bigger than you, you're bigger than him. Like, that's easy to understand a little bit.
Yeah.
So with more times of, them hanging out, they'll get used to it. And I think that's another blueprint for parents. A lot of times your friend may have a typical child, and then you have a neurodiverse child, and you're trying to figure out, we can have play dates. And so the more you bring your kid around other kids, they'll get used to them. Even if they don't play together, right? So even if Mason is going to continue to play with Mr. Straw and not engage with Elam, at least he'll learn. Then Elam will know, okay, well, I'm just going to go over to Auntie Camille's house and watch TV. You know, Mason is not going to be my play buddy. So, you know, they'll sit next to each other or whatever, but it's all a learning curve. Yeah, so what else do we want to say to parents? This is going to be edited.
Okay.
Well, tell us out because I think we have hit all my notes. But I think sometimes when I'm in support groups, and I even have said this to one of the moms that was on our documentary last week, she said that she can't really relate to other moms that don't have autistic kids. But I think we can relate. Like if people who are like you, without the children with special needs, would just take the time to listen. You said you listened, you learned to like have compassion and like, okay, I want this person to be my friend. How can I support her in that?
That's good. Yeah, and I know that, you know, you all are still people with feelings, with dreams, goals, ambitions, you know, things that you have going on in your life, and you make daily sacrifices. And so if I can find a way to fit into your life just to make life easier or make life feel more fulfilled or that you have an outlet and not so isolated, then that's what I'm going to do. So listening is the key. Being open to it is a major key. And even just thinking about parents raising children with special needs, just thinking about how limited your social life may be. I'm willing to, come into your home, you know, even like, you know, you and your husband just shared an anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you.
You know, I was thinking about, oh my God, like how can I support so that they can go out and have fun and, you know, things like that. So, yeah.
I think I was just, while you were talking, I was thinking, is this a special, unique situation? Like, because maybe people don't really have friendships like that, but it's really not. Like, you know, it just took you being willing. My other friends, some of my other friends are across the country, and if I have like a hard time, I remember me and Mason were sick at the same time, and I think it was just a lot going on during that time. They sent me a care box, a care package, and a letter. And so they're not here in my state, but it you know, touched my heart, let me know they were thinking about me, and just think it's just being thoughtful. You know, if this person, if you care about this person. And one thing we kind of skated over that I want you to talk about is like not giving that advice. Like you don't give no unsolicited advice. Like I said, I don't think you one time have said, have you tried this? And
yeah, because that's a very sensitive thing for me. You know, I don't want to dump anything that may not be beneficial. So I kind of just let you lead. But there are times where I feel like I can offer advice or resources, like for instance, you know, the soap, pouring the soap out, you know, things like that.
Okay, story time. So Mason was, Mason is obsessed with pouring any liquid out of a container. It could be water in a pot, your juice in a cup, anything. So what he does when I buy new foam soap is pour it out. So Taylor J was like, she sent me these links on Amazon to get a soap dispenser that he could pour out.
Yeah, because I'm tired of my friend having to keep buying soap, hand soap.
Yes.
Yeah, so if there's something like if there's a problem that I know I can for sure solve, then I'm going to do it. But I don't have the resources and different things.
But you couldn't tell me how to help him get potty trained. So.
No, I don't know. I struggled even my last one, you know, like how do we work this out? And even too, like they're still both boys. Like there's still advice that I can take from you as a mother. Like Elam, I was struggling with getting him to sleep in his own bed, but you know, you having to deal with Mason, I'm like, if she can be strong with it, I know I can, you know. So it's even things like that we can like help each other with our kids, even though you know they're different. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And even like being comfortable in your space. Like I come over, I just make myself at home. I'm hanging with Mason in his room with Elam, and we're just hanging out being a family. So I think that sometimes even just having like your friend come over support, even in your space, is good, you know, and just being of help. So if it's
here's a major one. I had told you that I was triggered. Well, it wasn't like specifically for you, but it was a series of events that happened. And I had one time I went to the store and there was this little 6-year-old girl who was like, hey, it's my 6-year-old, it's my birthday, I'm having a party, blah, 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 blah. And she's talking to me, and here's Mason on the other side of me with his straw. And we're in public, and I didn't feel no type of way. I left, and maybe the next day you came over with Elam, and he's very bright, talkative, normal 4-year-old. And then I guess like maybe that night or the next night, it had allowed me to see, because we're not around other kids. I told my husband, it gave me an accurate picture of like, oh shoot, like really what I was dealing with, because I'm not around other kids his age, so I'm not really able to see like how different he is. Yeah, like I know, but on top of that, my youngest before him is 17, so I done forgot.
Yeah, right.
I forgot what a 6-year-old is or a 5-year-old. So that night I started praying, and then I just started crying like, Lord, I started praying that the Lord would give me long life, because I saw for Mason that he would need support further than like my sons who may turn 18. I know they may, if they want to go to college, they're going to be all right. I knew in that moment that I could possibly be a lifer, you know, like, okay, he may need me still. Yesterday, I had the same thought. I was washing him up, and I was like, he's getting bigger physically, but not bigger like developmentally. So like I saw he was still a baby, but he's getting so big. And so I'm like, as he grows, I'm like, wow. But yeah, even just being around him, I mean, I guess it was a healthy trigger, but I started telling my mom about it, and I just bust out crying like and like even thoughts of like, okay, I'm gonna go to the mall with Taylor J and Elam, and Mason gonna be big in his stroller, and Elam gonna be walking with his little self. I was like, do I want to do that? Like all my personal thoughts, like in having a friend that doesn't have a child with special needs.
Yeah, and I'm the friend like, well, Elam's getting in the car with Mason.
Right.
Like we're in this together, you know, and just being mindful. Like I love that about our friendship. Like we're able to be open and honest about how we feel. And, you know, just support each other in that. So,
I told one of my other friends, that she's like, you told Taylor J? I was like, yes. She's like, you did? I was like, yes.
And I'm mindful of that when I'm around now, too. I'm like, wow, you know.
It's nothing like I'm saying you did, or it's how I feel. And I just, and it's nothing like, oh, well, I'm sorry. No, it's just what happened.
Yeah.
And for
that's
me,
a very real thought.
It is. And for me, it was very healthy, because as he gets bigger, we're not going to have other kids in the house. So it is helpful, you know, like, okay, I went out to sign him up for soccer, to be around other kids. He flipped out for like the first half hour and literally lost it and cried. But I think that's a lot because he's not around other kids. So all the laughter and all, you know, everything kids do, he was not happy about it. You know, he was scared. So like, what? This is too much noise. So the people had to come out and help him and calm him down. They stood with us for like a half hour, and then he was inside crying. While I was in there, I was like, I thank God this is like a room full of all parents with special needs, so like nobody looked crazy. But even if friends who are watching this could just like, if we all could like get that message to a friend, right? And like then it'll be less people turning around when somebody's crying or a meltdown. Even you like understanding meltdowns, like you're understanding more. And I appreciate that. So, you know, the purpose of this conversation was to really encourage friends to be a friend, to involve yourself more, in the parents' lives in a way that you support, that they don't have to have like this outside life that's isolated and secluded and you'll never understand. And Do you have any more advice today?
No, just be a good friend, be a great listener, just be mindful of their space, their environment, and what they're going through, and it'll be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it'll help you to relate to other people when you're not with your friend. Absolutely. Yep, you happily serve at the Moments of Joy Fest.
Yes, I do.
Every year.
Yes.
So you're able to like really see and hear other stories like, wow,
Yeah.
What did you take away from last year?
That it was so much love in the room. It was so much. It was really good to just see you all come together, and just hearing the stories individually of parents who felt isolated or secluded or feel like they're just alone. It was good for me to see this community just come together and just be there for one another, and also hanging out with the kids in the respite care. I got to see how different they are. So you have to treat them differently, and every parent is different, so.
Yeah. And so, yes, thank you for being on the show
Thank you
today,
for having me.
And so we hope today through this episode, this is specifically share this with a friend who does not have a child with special needs, but maybe you know someone who does. You have a friend or a sister or a brother, or you're that auntie or that grandma. This will help you to begin to support that family better, because we need it. Yeah. On top of the stress that we go through, stress causes other physical ailments, and so it will help to alleviate the stress in that person. Always remember that you have the option to choose joy, and until next time, bye-bye. Bye, y'all.
Bye.